There's a medrash called Oisius de Reb Akiva. I'm going to learn a little bit from Ois Aleph. These medrashim, they try to give us access to the shoyrish of the alibis, of how they were created, and the purpose of alibis. And when we speak about alibis, we're speaking about language. And we are the type of creatures that run on language. So the language is the source of our entire experience. This is why it's so significant that humanity created languages. When humanity created languages, it's like we created subspecies within our species, because now there's going to be different brain development. Now there's going to be different understandings, interpretations. And that triggers the brain, that triggers the stimulation in the brain, and that's going to cause an entirely different experience. So the Medrash is about Aleph Beis, and the goal of Aleph Beis, the goal of language, the way that Lashon HaKodesh sets it forth, and the way that we have it in the Torah, the way that the Torah constantly grew as people became more and more filled with language. People started using language in a more shallow fashion, and they didn't realize the powers that they're really dealing with when they're creating words and reading words and writing words and listening to words. So with time, the Torah had to become bigger and bigger. And the goal was that the intelligence that can make sense of the words best should be the intelligence that is going to teach the others the meaning of life. So that's the hierarchy, is how good do we understand the software that's actually running us. It's running humanity, because naturally we all want to comply with the nature of how language relates to the mind. We don't want to offend the mind by our use of language. So naturally, we want to have access to the best information. And so the Torah, which has different meanings to different people, put leadership in the hands of those who can understand Torah, not simply people who have brute force, not simply people who have the power of the sword to convince others to follow them. And that's the way leadership was designed by nature to be, like the Pasuk says, Kavod Chachamim Yincholu, that glory comes to the wise. That's nature. That's the way it should be. Today it's not like that at all. But that's the way that life was designed to be. That's the way nature wants it to be, because that's a system that's helpful to humanity. That means humanity is going to get the most out of their experience. And so, starting with the Aleph Beis, understanding the Aleph Beis, understanding letters, understanding the nature of letters, understanding the authority of letters. You know what? Just because somebody can utter sounds, that doesn't necessarily give them authority to make certain decisions. So to understand the underlying structure of what we're really dealing with, that's understanding language. And that's understanding the underlying software that's running our even more subtle software, which is the software we're born with, our emotions and our capacity for belief, with the different things in our mind that are preset, like when we think about our creator. You know, nature designed us with a relationship to everything that's happening outside of us. And that relationship is an important relationship. That's called the relationship with our creator. It's the relationship with everything. It's the relationship of your entire experience. It's what it means to be you. That's the relationship with your creator. And this is a natural relationship. So now we need the letters and the words to make you aware of this relationship so that you can manage that relationship appropriately. And the same goes for other relationships that are within nature, that were designed specifically for humanity to experience. These things are not individual to us. You know, I'm not the first father. The concept of being a father is a natural concept that was designed within nature. And nature had a view of what it expects a father to understand and know and do for the son in order for the son to have the appropriate experience. If the father was healthy and available and intelligent enough, he would understand. If he's distracted and he's busy competing with other people over who's going to get more food, so then he's not going to be the father that he needs to be, because his mind is not there. He's not exposing his mind to what nature wants of it. He's pushing his mind for other things that at the moment might seem more important. And the same goes for all the relationships that we have in life. It's not us that came up with these relationships, and it's not us that can decide how they're supposed to be when they're healthy. There's a nature, there's something that was there before we were even born of how these things work. And then we come into it. We can either understand appropriately and do it right, or we can completely misunderstand and cause issues all around. And then the relationships go sour. And those relationships reflect back to our relationship with the Creator. Like the Mishnah says, Kol shirocha bris nechamenu, rechamokem nechamenu. If your understanding with people is in accordance with their spirit, then you can assume that the one who created you is okay with you, because you and nature have a similar language. You understand each other. But if there's offensive behavior, there's offensive language, and it happens constantly, then that's a sign that something is off. Some of the settings are not right. And so all this comes back to language, because all these things are managed by language. And the understanding of what's available and how we can understand ourselves, understand the people around us better, is what allows us access to being who we were designed to be. So that's intelligence. That's the key. That's seichel. And that seichel is the quality of our lives that we share with the Creator. That's where we are like Him. And that's why when we see Chacham, and we see a Chacham b'Yisrael, so then the bracha is shecholak michachmos li'reov, that he gave a chelek, giving like access to a piece of his fortune to humanity. And what's that fortune? That fortune is intelligence. He gives them access to his intelligence so that they can do things in the world, so they can be things in the world, so they can create things in the world, so they can enjoy the world, because that's what the world was for prior to Galus. Now the world is not for enjoyment directly. The world is for liberation first, and then enjoyment. We can't enjoy if people are at the level that they are. So first is a certain maturity, a certain understanding, and then the world becomes the Olam Haba, the world becomes a world of pleasure. And this is what Shabbos is here to remind us of, that, yeah, you're working hard, it's not pleasant, but this is not the goal. Don't assume that this is what Hashem created. If just this He created, then that would be cruel. Why would He do that? But He didn't do it like this. He did something that He wanted to be beautiful, that He wanted to be pleasurable. And then people were not mature enough to receive the pleasure, and it devolved into pain. It devolved into suffering. It devolved into humanity causing itself suffering. That's what all suffering is. And even when it comes to us from nature, it's still what we deposited in nature that brings back nature. This is what we always say in Kriyas Shema. We say V'haim Shema. Don't assume that nature is just a separate entity that interacts with you in a way that is disconnected from you. Understand that nature and you are one and the same. You are nature and nature is you. Every thought that you have interacts with nature. Every vibration that comes out of your organs affects nature. It is nature. And just because you have a mind and you can think doesn't separate you from nature. You're still nature. You're living in a big chunk of nature, and nature allows you to think. So what if you built a whole town of real estate in that mind? It doesn't make it yours. It belongs to nature. It belongs to life itself. It belongs to the Creator. And we get to use it. We get to think in it. We get to do with it. We get to talk from it. But that doesn't make it ours. Because as long as we don't understand it, it's not ours. It's not necessarily even working in our favor. So intelligence is the key to the world. The world is ours. The world is open. The world is available. We can do whatever we want with it. But we don't have the key. We don't have the intelligence. We've been distracted. We've been building big things, but abusing the very minds that build them. So back to language, back to wisdom, and then man can find peace, and then man can see his destiny. Life can make sense to him again. Because as long as life doesn't make sense, the heart can't find peace. Now, there's things we need to do. We're not vegetables where we can just say we don't care about life and whatever happens, happens. If we'll get water, we'll grow. If we don't get water, we'll dry up, and that's it. There are things that are waiting for us to be done. We need to be parents. We need to be spouses. We need to know how to think for ourselves, to keep ourselves going. So we need energy. We need life. And when life doesn't make sense, we lose access to energy. We lose access to life. When life becomes difficult and we don't know why, it makes us weak on that dimension that cares about those things. Because we live on many, many dimensions. And each dimension has its needs. Each dimension has its purpose. And it's here to protect us. So if we get hit from any dimension, whether it's a dimension of safety, or it's a dimension of the physical not being exactly the way we like it, or the dimension of the emotional that's not in the way that it needs to be. So then everything else also gets hit. All the other dimensions are within the same unit, are within the same person, are within the same being. So let's see what he says over here. Ois Aleph Omer Bekiva, Aleph Mai Aleph Melamed, Shamre Torah, Emes Lamed Picha Kedei Shetizke L'chai Olam Hazeh. The Torah tells you, you want to live in this world, you have to teach yourself to learn only truth. Teach your mouth truth. Emes Lamed Picha. Truth, teach to your mouth. Why? Because if your mouth will say things that are not true, then your nefesh, your spirit, is going to think it is true. You're confusing yourself. You're typing in wrong information into the very intelligence that's guiding your life. So you want to be able to live, you want to keep a straight life, you want to have the ability to understand what's happening to you. Emes lamed picha. Truth teach to your mouth. Don't interact with the universe like the universe is stupid. The universe is not stupid. It created you. As clever as you might be, it's more clever. So be truthful, because then you're going to get this world. Then he turns the letters around. He says, Picha lamed emes. your mouth teach truth, so that you can get the world to come. So he did this with the Rosh of Aleph. Aleph, emes lamed picho, and then the opposite, picho lamed emes, so that you can get olam haba. And how is this? Because the first one is emes lamed picho, truth teach to your mouth, which means say things that are honest, that are real, so that you understand yourself, so that the world understands you, so that you can be authentic, so that you can recognize yourself. And then you'll have access to this world. Picho lamed emes, your mouth teach truth, means realize that everything you say is true. Your imagination always believes you. And with that, you can create your world to come. What you tell yourself becomes truth. Right now, that's a dangerous fact. That's a fact that's causing you a lot of harm. But if you understand this fact, then this fact can give you a future like you've never imagined, because now you can guide your imagination. Emes lamed picho, picho lamed emes. Only say the truth, because what you say becomes true. What you say is true. If you believe it, you feel it. You have the emotions of what you believe. And so you create within your imagination what is really and authentically be'em is good for you. That's what you should be creating. Because this, you have the chance to create. This is your life. Your life is here so that you can create, and then you're going to have it in the future. So if you want to have a good future, create good truth with your mouth. Create it, make it happen. By saying it, you're going to believe it. And by you believing it, that's going to become your reality. That's going to be the truth of your experience. And that's the only truth that there is. And so allow that experience to merge with the ultimate truth, with the truth that was created, that was designed by the one who designed you, by the one who gave you the power to experience, by the one who gave you the power to think. Reconcile with him. Realize that you are always reconciled with him. Realize that you can never move from him, even 1 inch. So allow your imagination to get that update. That is the truth. You can't move any distance away from the intelligence that created you. It's not possible. And therefore, feel safe in knowing that fact. And that fact is not only true when you're inside your body, that fact is true wherever you'll find yourself, ever. There can never be distance by definition. Only our imagination can imagine distance. Because in order to train us, they told us that this he likes and this he doesn't like. Here he'll be with you, here he won't be with you. And then our imagination lives in such a reality. Even though, in fact, it is not possible. There cannot be any distance. If he moves away for an instant from anything, then there isn't that thing any longer. That's just the nature of reality. The same way as your thought is receiving your energy in order to exist. If you removed your energy from your thought for 1 moment, that thought would no longer exist. And so the truth is life itself. The truth is as good as it gets. Having access to that truth while we are still in our bodies while we're still interacting with people who are soaked with lies, is very difficult. In this world, the truth is very hidden. But the truth is very kind, it's very good. Evil people, violent people, have made the truth look dangerous, have made the truth look distant and scary. And that truth is available for those who want to interact with the truth in such a manner. That is also true. But there is a different truth that the world hasn't seen recently that shows a whole different face to reality, that shows a truth that is aligned with the other truth, that's aligned with the truth that's happening beyond the moon, beyond the solar system, beyond even our galaxy. The truth that is available only when we are part of the galaxy, when we are with the universe, when we are with the truth, not when we're trying to fight against it, not when we're trying to outsmart the truth. And that truth is vast, that truth is deep. That truth is as big as nature itself and even beyond. The unmanifested can't even be accessible to the human imagination. We can't even contemplate at that level. And so, the safety of the truth is the environment where a human being can grow. And that's why he's saying, teach truth to your mouth, so you have access to this world. And teach your mouth truth, so that you have access to the world to come. So he says, why is this so? The name of HaKadosh Baruch Hu's name is emes, truth. Who is HaKadosh Baruch Hu? The truth. That's who he is. That's who he always was. That's who he always will be. People have just misidentified the truth in many different clothing, sometimes in very scary clothing. But the truth is not so scary. The truth is simply what is and what was and what will be, and it doesn't change. But our opinions about it keep on changing. Our relationship with it keeps on changing. Our interactions with it are not always in line with what's in the best interest of the truth, with what's in the ultimate best interest of humanity, of the person even doing the action, the person even implementing whatever it is they think they should be implementing. So that's HaKadosh Baruch Hu's name. The kisoi, if we want to have a throne of glory for HaKadosh Baruch Hu, me'az yoshev alav be'emes. How does he sit on the throne of glory? Through truth. Truth is what invites him in. How are we going to invite the creator of the universe to come into this place? If we're going to align with his truth, that's inviting him. If we are living his truth, then we're inviting him in. If we are creating a different truth, then we are sending him out. Because that's his name, truth. So he sits on his throne with truth. You want to come towards his face. If you want to see his face, truth alone is not enough. You're going to need chesed v'emes. You're going to need kindness and truth. Because if you come with truth alone, sometimes the truth can be quite threatening. Not all of us are so ready to face the truth unless we bring along some kindness, some forgiveness, some realization of where we come from and how much do we really know and how much did we really understand what we were doing while we were doing it. So one of Yakadmi, you want to see his face. For that you need chesed v'emes. You need kindness and truth. V'chol devar of divrei emes. Everything he does only truth. V'chol mishpat of mishpatei emes. All his rulings are rulings of truth. V'chol orchos of chesed ve'emes. All his ways are kindness and truth. So here again, when it comes to action, when it comes to interacting with life, it's chesed ve'emes, it's kindness and truth. And now it's going to bring psukim, and it says, V'nan she'akadosh baruch hu nikra emes, shenemer, v'Hashem elokim emes. Hashem, the divine force that creates life, is truth. That's what he is. It requires wisdom to understand that truth. But all it is just truth. The truth that you've been living for as long as you've been living, that truth. That truth is him. What does it mean? What is the language to describe it? For that, we need to try to go back and see how they described this reality. But all it is understanding this reality. What's happening over here? That is God. That is the creator. That is the language that he speaks. He speaks in creation. What he created speaks for him. And that's what it is. How do we know that he sits on his throne? We're going to prepare with kindness a throne. And you'll sit on it with truth. We're going to prepare a throne through kindness. We're going to prepare the potential for truth to even enter our hearts. We're going to become so soft like butter that any truth won't surprise us. We're going to be able to handle anything. And then the truth is going to come and sit on that throne. Because we prepared it, we made it available. Now the spirit is ready to show itself because she's ready to be accepted as she is, without any conditions. How do we know that his face you can receive through kindness and truth? The things that hold the throne, the support for the throne, comes from tzedek, justice, and mishpat is when there is fair interaction, when people are fair with each other. So before we can be kind, we have to stop offending, which means we have to live by the spiritual principles of not causing harm. So tzedek mishpat nechon kisecha, you prepare the throne. Chesed ve'emes yikadmu fenecha, kindness and truth are what call the face of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. The beginning of your speech is truth. If HaKadosh Baruch Hu is speaking, it's only through truth. That's the first sign. If it's not truth, it's not HaKadosh Baruch Hu. That's right there. Rosh Devacha Emes. The first thing that we know that HaKadosh Baruch Hu is saying is if it's the truth. And then the truth can reveal to us what it has to say. But nothing can diverge from the truth. Nothing can diverge from reality. Anything that diverges from reality is no longer connected to the tzad of Kedusha, is no longer holy. That all the mishpatim of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, which means all the mitzvahs of the Torah, tzadko yachdav, they're true together. When somebody understands them all, then they all fall into place. You see how all of them really belong to the same message. All of them are trying to say the same thing. All his ways are kindness and truth. All the ways of Hashem are kindness and truth. That's how he operates. So everything that's going against this, everything that's going against truth, everything that's going against kindness, comes from the other side, comes from somewhere else. It doesn't belong. It's out of its place. Something went wrong. Something got offended over here. Life is not happy with us. And so then things are not chesed ve'emes anymore because we turned our face. It's called the olam hatmuras, the world of exchange. That in place of getting certain things, certain good things, certain kind things, when we turn our face on it, it becomes a bad thing instead. So for example, if we're going to take two individuals, the HaKadosh Baruch Hu wants to give them pleasure, so he gets them married. But if they're not in the right attributes, that marriage, instead of heaven, can become hell. And that means that now they're in the world of Tmuras, now they're in the world of the exchange. They didn't get the side that HaKadosh Baruch Hu wants to give them, they got the other side of it. They didn't get the carrot, they got the stick. And that means that there are forces that are difficult forces that are gaining access into the system, that are gaining access into the spirit, that are aggravating it, that are annoying it. And that's causing damage. That means that the spirit is not giving to the body the full juice. The spirit is not really happy to be in the body. It's not really enjoying the experience. It's shutting off some of the very important streams of energy that are necessary for the body to continue, for the body to be healthy and strong. And then the spirit of tomorrow doesn't have a healthy body any longer, so it doesn't even stand a chance in the first place. It doesn't even know where to start, how to fix the mess. And this is all because we're moving away from chesed ve'emes. We're moving away from the divine. We're moving away from reality. We're going into a conflict. We're going into a war zone. But reality lands a much stronger punch. It's not wise. So this is very important to realize how much we have to embrace the truth, how much we have to love reality, because only then will we be able to understand it. If we think that an imagined reality is better than the one we have, then we're not investing our energy right. We're not investing our energy with God. We're investing our energy elsewhere. And that elsewhere is in conflict with reality, which means that eventually we're going to be in pain. Reality is going to win. Reality always wins. So this realization is a form of freedom, because all these things that we want to believe in, all these alternative realities that we want to live in because we think we'll have more over there, that something can be better for us, we don't realize the shallowness of the image our imagination is painting for us. We don't realize that it's not life, it's just an image in your mind. You can't imagine life. Life is unimaginable. There's not a moment in your life that you could have imagined prior to that moment happening. Not one. They all have their own intricacies. They all have their own signature that's unique to them only. And that's where the truth resides, in that infinity. So come back to reality, come back to the truth. Realize the power of reality over fiction, the depth of reality over fiction, the importance of reality over fiction. Invest yourself in reality and the people that are next to you, not in celebrities, not in people you don't really have access to only in the imagination, but in the real people, the ones that live around you, the ones that you get to see, and smell, and touch. That's where you should be investing your energy, not in the world of imagination. Become present. Live. It's a big deal to have a body. You've been waiting for eternity to finally put on that suit. Live it. Feel it. Experience it. Allow yourself to be the best version of yourself that your imagination can come up with. And then allow yourself to come up with an even better version and grow into that. And then allow yourself to continue for as long as you can, to do the most that you can with the situation that you've been given. Because it's an important situation. It's an eternal situation. It's going to be everything to you as soon as you don't have your body. Everything. Because here's the test. What's the test? The test is that you don't know. That's the test. test is that we're going to let you guess. What are you going to guess? What do you really want to guess? Because that's what you're going to guess. So be careful how you guess. Dig deep. Be authentic. Be sincere. Mean it. Come from the depth of the heart and decide, what are you about? What is your life about? Why did you put on that body? Why go through all this hassle? What was it about for you? What does it mean to you? What's important? What's so important that it would be worth it? The Geula lives inside of each one of us. Olam Haba is already here. The question is, do we have the intelligence? Can we say the words that take us there? Do we have the attributes that would even allow us to say those words? And so this is our search. This is our purpose. That we all find Geula within. This is the Zman Cherisenu, time of freedom, time of realization, time of removing bondage and seeing life anew, seeing the people around us anew, seeing reality anew, and seeing Mashiach, Meher B'Yameinu.